Hello, everybody, and welcome to your June 2019 episode of Sunday Sit Down, the show where anything goes and nothing is left behind. As always, I am Steve, your friendly neighborhood lawn gnome, and I really hope that you guys have found a comfortable seat in your house with a little bit of a late lunch and maybe a nice beverage. Normally, I bring coffee. I swear to God, this is not scotch, it's iced tea, but because of the fact that it's too late for coffee, and even though I do drink decaf, I just needed a little bit of a change of pace because we're in the middle of summer and nothing screams summer like iced tea. But that's not the reason why we're here today. We only do 1 2-hour show every year. And the reason why we do that is because there are certain topics that I want to talk about that are just, there's not enough time to discuss it all in one episode. And more importantly, it's always good to bring more than one perspective to the table if we do decide to do an episode that runs for about 2 hours. And based on some of the things that I have heard recently in terms of things like BookCon, I heard that some things didn't go so well for some people. I wanted to bring something important to let everybody know that you guys, we're not as different as we think we are. And we need to really step back and realize that there are more important things in life. And that is why the topic today is called BookTube or YouTuber Meets World, because I want to really get a good perspective on people who have been doing YouTube for many, many years or just recently, and what it has been like in their lives with BookTube or YouTube or without it. And I've got two great people here, people that I've known for a long time. One a little bit longer than others. So I want to welcome Melissa from The Bookish Babbler, who has been on my channel before for some live streams. So Melissa, it's great to have you back today.
It was great to be back.
Yeah, it's been a while. And we've got Taylor from Page Screen Taylor, who has also been gracious enough to host this event because YouTube is being a bastard to me again. So first of all, thank you, Taylor, and thank you so much for joining us today for the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is, I think, going to be a very important show for everybody. And like I said, the important thing that I really want is for people to just learn something. So we've got 2 hours ahead of us. I'll be keeping track of the clock to make sure that we don't go overtime. But if we do, there's nothing wrong with that. So when we begin this show with the first of 7 questions, I always like to begin at the beginning. So the first question, and whoever wants to take it first, just jump on in and don't be offended if you accidentally interrupt anybody. A good conversation is filled with interruptions, and that's what makes it such an important conversation. So the first question is, when you decided to be a content creator here on YouTube, where were you in life and what made you decide that you wanted to do this?
Well, I can go first.
Go for it.
So this is actually my 3rd attempt at a YouTube channel, and it's the one that stuck. So the first one was in high school, and it was so embarrassing, I mercy killed that YouTube channel. The second one was my freshman year of college, where I just wasn't in a good place. I didn't have any friends. It was just not a good time for me. And then I decided to start it the summer between my freshman year of college and my sophomore year of college, where I was just starting to get myself to a good place. I was making friends. I was the healthiest I had ever been, and I couldn't find a job. I had a lot of difficulty finding a summer job and feeling really just listless. So I decided that time was as good a time as any, and I just propped up my camera, put a few books next to me because I didn't have a bookshelf at the time, and I just started filming.
So I was in high school when I started my YouTube channel. I'm trying to remember. I think I was 17 possibly when I started it. And I just happened to be on YouTube watching YouTube videos as I usually was. And I came across an Emma Books video, and I became totally obsessed with her and her channel. And I was like, I love to read. I'm a huge reader. And I was like, this seems like it could be a good, fun time for me. Much like Taylor, I was at a point in my life where I was just ready to be out of school. I absolutely hated it. I did not have a lot of friends. I didn't have much going on in my life. And I just decided that this would be like a good outlet for me and a good way for me to talk about a hobby that has been a huge part of my entire life. So I started my channel, and here I am today. I'm now 21 and we're still going strong on the YouTube channel.
Wow. That's it's so interesting because one of the few things that I have definitely noticed about YouTube is the fact that we all seem to come from very similar stories in terms of what our experiences were in high school or even younger than that. It's like a lot of us seem to be the outcast, the black sheep, the person that really was not favorable amongst the average kid in school. And this YouTube platform seems to be the place where all the rejects manage to find each other, which is kind of, it's kind of cool. Like, it's not a bad thing. It's a really good thing. But for me, I was long since out of school because all of this stuff didn't even exist when I was in high school. I mean, when I was in high school, I had started with America Online version 2.5. That was the internet, and there was no Facebook, there wasn't even Friendster when I was in college. So this was something that I never would have imagined would even exist in time. So I was well into my 20s when YouTube was something that I found. And when I first found it, it was something that I used just for the sake of watching movie trailers and little animated shorts and whatnot. But one day, because I was already doing movie reviews and music reviews on Amazon. I had an Amazon account, and that was a really cool outlet for me to voice my stuff because I always loved this stuff. I love talking about popular culture, and I always wanted to, just be a voice. You didn't have to listen to me, but I just wanted to get my opinions out there. So one day I was watching YouTube, and I started watching people actually making their own content with reviewing stuff. And I saw this 13-year-old kid whose channel has been long gone. It literally was gone after my first year as a YouTuber. But here was a kid that was so much younger than me, and he was reviewing Toy Story 3 like he was in his late 30s, early 40s, like a real professional critic. Wow. And I was like, wow. I was curious if this was something that I could actually do. And at that time, I really wasn't too satisfied with my job. It was also right after the Great Recession, which was a terrible time for people in my profession at the time. Unfortunately, I bit the bullet after living with my best friend for 2 years in an apartment. We both ended up moving back with our parents because I was not making much money and he lost his job. And I wasn't dating anybody at the time. I had nothing. I really felt, to myself, I felt very alone because even though I did have a decent circle of friends, these people were just not entirely as interested as I was in some of these things. So I just said to myself, you know what? I'm going to do it. I turned on my cell phone because it was my first smartphone, had video capabilities. I recorded a video. I had no idea who the hell was going to listen to me, but I posted it, and it felt good. It felt really, really good. And for the holidays, my parents got me at the time a flip cam, which was the new sensation, record 60 minutes of high quality video. My friend who was my roommate actually knew how to edit video, so he helped me along the way at the beginning. But that was it. I had an outlet. I had a voice. I felt like I was actually just feeling a little bit more confident in myself, and the rest is history.
That's good. I do see like a pattern with a lot of people who start YouTube channels, especially BookTube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I also feel that when BookTube was something that I actually discovered, that was something else that sort of opened up the floodgates for me in finding out that YouTube can actually be more than just posting videos. And it's kind of crazy because when I find a new content creator, especially when it comes to a booktuber, what's the first video that I go to? Probably the same one that everybody goes to, the newbie tag. Because that's where I feel that someone is literally getting themselves started, and that's where they feel they're most genuine. And that's where I find that the intentions is not just for the sake of making videos. Like, these people actually are looking for someone to hang out with. They're looking for friends. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was my first video, was a BookTube newbie tag. And you commented on it. And that's how I met Steve.
Yeah, I mean, I just liked your energy. It just seemed like someone who loved what she was doing. And I mean, like, obviously my favorite video of yours is the one where you're singing As Long As He Needs Me. It's such a wonderful video. It really, really is. And it was just, what I appreciated about that one was the fact that you did something different, something that I don't think anyone would have expected. And I take a look at some of the comments on that video. People are just blown away by it because it's a side of you that nobody knows.
Every time I post a video of me singing, like, I always get at least like 5 comments where people are like, wait, you know how to sing? How did I not know this? And I'm like, well, I don't talk about it, but I post videos every so often. I'll post one like every like 6 months or something. It's just like it's nice to mix it up every once in a while, and someone's always surprised. And then they're like, oh, this was great. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. But also, I appreciate a lot of the videos that you make because you also go against the grain so often, and I appreciate the fact that, especially in the platform that we're in right now, because right now there's a vast need of improvement for the way that people actually handle other people's feelings and thoughts and inception of different specific things. But I always appreciate the people that just don't give a shit. Like, I'm just gonna, this is how I feel. And this is how my attitude is. You can love me or hate me, but I don't care.
Probably my favorite, one of my top like 5 favorite videos I've ever made is the one where I talk about BookTube drama while on helium from those balloons that I had.
Yes! That's one of my favorites! You are so funny!
I had so much fun filming that video, and I was like, this is just such a good time for me. I was just like talking about how annoyed I was, but like also trying to give constructive criticism, but I was also just, my voice sounded ridiculous because I was just inhaling intense amounts of helium.
But Taylor, I really appreciated the fact how we actually connected, because I have no shame in saying that the first conversation that you and I had outside of YouTube was the results of the 2016 election. And we had such an amazing conversation. I mean, I won't deny that there was definitely tension because we didn't really speak to each other that often, but the more we spoke, the more on the same wavelength and respect we sort of became. And I loved that. It was a shame that there was sort of like a blackout period where we just weren't talking, but I think it was just because you were just so busy with other important things. But but I love the fact that you really are back in full force and you're really starting to think of so many interesting ideas. Like, I'm really excited for your Hitchcock project, and I'm glad to be, and I'm really excited that I'm going to be a part of it in October. I'm really excited.
God, thank you. I had a little bit of trouble getting it started, but I'm ready to get it back on course. Work gets in the way, but this isn't something that's dead. I'm really excited to get to it. And you were like literally the first person I thought of when I was like, oh, I want to do this movie project. Because I think, other than the whole political discussion we had when we first met, which was wild.
But and let me tell you something. That conversation is never going to be over. We can always unclick the pause button whenever you want to chat. You know that I'm always open for that.
Oh, same. That was just a lot of energy. I remember, like, because we hadn't interacted before, and we were just messaging furiously, and I was like doing the dishes at the same time, so I'm like scrubbing the dish, going to message you. It was a lot of energy.
She multitasks, everybody. Cleaning the dishes and booktubing. I'm gonna try that.
But other than that, I feel like we bonded mostly over films too, which
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
interesting because we don't talk books a lot. We talk movies.
Well, there's nothing wrong with talking
Yeah.
about movies. I mean, don't get me wrong. One of the most important things about BookTube is when I was in grad school, I was not reading at all. And I wanted to get back into reading for pleasure. And so that was around the time that BookTube was something that I discovered. And I'm seeing all these new books. And I'm like, here they are. This is what I want to do. I want to start reading again. I want to really just be the reader that I knew that I always wanted to be, because my mom tried to get me to read so much when I was a kid, and I never found my niche. It wasn't until I found Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, I was like, sci-fi fantasy, this is what I like.
Yeah.
But also for me, it's like one of the most important things about YouTube is it's such a driving force for people to think of new and innovative ideas, because now you both, as often as you have the chance to watch videos, I'm sure that you both check out one of my throwback videos one of these days when I talk about a classic film that I've never seen before. Like, I always knew that these great movies were out there and they existed, but I just never had the incentive to watch them. But now I'm watching them and I just feel like I'm really becoming a better person for it as a film appreciator. And now I'm watching all of the first 24 Bond films before number 25 comes out next year, which was something there's so many James Bond films I never watched, and I'm a fan. I was like, I felt dirty. I felt unclean. Like, I'm literally in the corner of my bathtub with a sponge. Not clean, not clean. Like, what am I?
That's funny. That was me with what was it? It was some book series. Oh, I read the Selection series that I had been bullying for so long, and I enjoyed it, and I felt like I needed to go take a shower. I was like, I can't believe I enjoyed this. These stupid dystopian bachelorette books. Why am I enjoying these?
I know something. I heard about that. BookTube reviews that book series all the time. Do they actually give out roses, or do they give something else? I just have to know.
No,
I have to know.
They just send people home. It's like just these girls are trying to marry this prince, and every so often they'll just kick some out of the castle.
Right.
It's
Well,
ridiculous.
it sounds ridiculous, but sometimes people just love ridiculous.
Oh, I want it to be a really poorly made freeform TV show immediately.
Well, let's be honest. If a movie like Detective Pikachu can be made and be a smashing success, anything is possible. It's possible. Right. It is so possible. So anyway, let's get into the second question, and that is, when you started getting comfortable with being an online presence, what was your attitude about letting people in, and how much were you willing to share?
I would say that it took me a really long time to talk about anything of any substance on my channel or with other people. I had conversations with individuals, obviously, but it took a while for me to start talking about actual life events on my channel. I think I only started doing that a year or two ago, where I posted a few videos just talking about things that I felt like I could give a concise conversation about that they had happened to me in the past. So I don't typically talk about things that are currently happening on my channel. I don't get too personal on my channel, but I will make vague oh yeah, this month was not the best, but I made it and here I am to review some books. So I don't think I still am not at the point where I'm super comfortable talking about my personal issues or my personal life on my channel, but I'm just like that in real life. I don't share a lot of my personal issues with people unless I'm very, very close to them. So I'm not fully comfortable putting all of that out on my channel. But if it's something that's happened to me in the past and I'm over it, it's no longer an issue and I feel like it's an important conversation to have, I'll post it. I posted a video about having bulimia in high school, and I posted that video and it got a ton of really good reception. So just stuff like that. I will, non-bookish videos, I will post discussions about things, but I don't typically do that. It's very rare when I do that.
Right.
Yeah. For me, I would say that as far as my channel goes, I don't really post anything really personal about my life. Part of that is that I have a lot of IRL friends and family that do watch my channel.
Right.
So, you know, it's a little weird if I talk about some secret and then my mom comes in, like, because I live with her, comes in and she's like, hey, you posted this on your channel. Are you okay? You know, so I try to keep that for the most part professional, because I also use my YouTube as a sort of professional promotion as well.
Yes, yes. That's a very powerful thing to do.
Yeah, I actually got my current job because they were really happy with my online presence on YouTube and Twitter. So I try to stay away from like politics and personal issues. But when it comes to like BookTube friends, I feel like I can DM them about anything, and that's how they tend to get updates about like the really deep stuff in my life. Like I know I was talking to you, Steve, about this really bad situation I was in like about a year ago with my professional life.
Yes.
And, you know, how tough it was. And that was just a really tough part of my life that I chose not to share publicly on Twitter or YouTube, but privately to some BookTube friends. I was fine sharing that.
Yeah, and at the same time, I remembered you telling me that because I specifically mentioned to you, the economy is so good right now, you're going to have such an easy time getting a new job. And you got a new job very quickly.
I know. I didn't believe you too. I was like, oh my God, you're such a liar. But then I got
Hey, look, listen, our president may not be the brightest crayon in the box, but you got to admit the economy's been doing very well for the past couple of years. And the fact that, and look, the numbers don't lie when it comes to jobs. People are getting jobs, and especially jobs that are in the technology world. The markets are so, even in big populated cities like where I live in New York, and Taylor, you're in California. It's like, well, Melissa's in New York too, but not near New York City. But it's amazing to see, even though I'm not looking for a job, how many jobs in my area of expertise are popping up by the day. It's incredible. And so I'm like saying, if Taylor is looking for a job that involves digital media, I'm like, oh, she's going to get something instantaneously. It's impossible for her not to get something.
I literally got hired a month after I left.
You see?
I was going to be out of work for months.
No, you see, that's the beauty of these fields. These fields are where, not just where the jobs are, they can be the careers. Because when I was going to grad school, and that was also when my YouTube was in full force, and I was so grateful for YouTube because it actually was something that I added to my LinkedIn page, because it really helped me with my management skills, my time management, my project management. And now I'm working on a whole bunch of projects. I mean, I will not lie about the fact that this year was a little bit more intense because I have recently adopted a whole bunch of brand new responsibilities because of some new things happening at the office. So it's been a little hard for me to juggle things around. But one of the few things I'm happy about is the fact that people understand that I do need sometimes a little bit of breathing room, because they know that I'm getting so many new responsibilities, and they know I want to do a good job. But YouTube was such a driving force in helping me learn how to manage all of this stuff. But where I'm going with this is, we once, at one of my classes, the dean of our school had a special class where he talked to us, and he gave us a statistic that really upset me. And it was, the average graduate, whether it's undergraduate or graduate student going into the working world, before they retire will have had no less than 12 jobs attached to their resumes.
Wow. But I honestly believe that.
But I don't like that, because unfortunately there are some people in this world, I'm not saying that it's any of us in this room, that want to just leave one job because they feel that they're not gaining the respect or the credit, or they feel that they're not making a difference. You know, those are good intentions to have, but that's not what having a job or that you want to make into a career is all about. You've got to understand that it will take years for you to be, if your expectations are extremely high and you want to be the CEO of that company, I will just say this right off the bat, you're making a fool out of yourself. It's a fool's errand. You just have to understand that when you get a new job, you're at the bottom rung of that ladder, and you are going to get crapped on by all of your superiors. But you have to understand that you have to work every day. You got to treat every day as if it is your last. You got to wake up in the morning, ready to go to work, ready to tackle the day, and just do what you have to do. If you do what you have to do and you show your superiors that you have a passion for what you're doing and you show them that you're trying to do the best job as you can, the credit will come. You just have to be, that's one of the few things that the average young person doesn't have right now. They don't have patience. And not many people show gratitude anymore. They should be gracious that they have a job, because when you don't have a job, trust me, it sucks. I mean, I'll give you a true life situation. I proposed to my wife before I graduated from grad school, and I didn't have a job. I took a major gamble, but I did it because I just felt that it was time. And that basically gave me the incentive to work 10 times harder to look for a job. Thankfully, the school that I went to took a chance on me and brought me to work for them, but I got the job in less than 6 weeks because I was just working to get that job. And I will also not lie. One of the questions that was actually asked me was if I was married, and I said I just got engaged. So that actually kind of scored me a couple of brownie points, apparently. But I don't consider that a bad thing. But no, it was just like I knew that I had to get myself a job. And I knew which field I wanted to go into. I knew what I was capable of. I was willing to learn, because another thing that people need to understand is when you are in a major in college or in grad school, and I'm sure that you guys know this because Melissa's been to college, Taylor's been to college, you learn. And then when you get to your job, you have to throw everything you learned out the window because now you gotta do things the way your employer wants you to do these. This is how that's how it works. And you can't go into this world saying I can do this better. You have to understand that you also have to understand that there's age gaps, there's generation gaps. People don't do these things. Like, I just did a project that involved me dealing with the faculty, and some of these people don't know how to use computers. And does it anger me? Yes, it does anger me. But I have to understand that it's just a generational thing. It's just the way things go.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think in some cases when it comes to work, you definitely should stick it out and, work hard and try your best. I think when it came to my work situation, you also have to know your self-worth and know, where things are going. At that point, I was there for 8 months and it was just not a good situation. If you're at a point where you're just not doing your best work because you're so scared of doing something wrong because there are repercussions, and that there is no intention of promoting you further, even though you deserve a promotion and you've put in the time and the effort and so on, at least for me, it was a good time to walk away. And I'm happy I did when I did, because that's, like you said, the economy was, in a good enough position where I could get hired quickly and also take a chance on a job in a field that I just hadn't studied. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you have to also, yes, you have to love what you do, you have to love who you work with, and you have to love who you work for. If those 3 things fall into place, then you'll never work a day in your life. Do I have bad days? Yes, I have bad days. My wife is a middle school history teacher. You can tell that job is not rainbows and unicorns. But she goes into those school halls every single day ready to teach these kids because that's what she loves to do. And I also joke around. I also joke around with her. I say you also love to hear the sound of your own voice, but that's not the point. No, I admire her so much because I feed off of her passion. I love how she is so eager to just teach these kids, and it gives me such a drive because I want to make sure that I go in regardless of how I feel, that this is my job. I want to do the best that I can today, regardless of how I'm feeling. You got to leave your home life at home and your work life at work. Sometimes if you feel you just need a non-biased voice to just tell someone what's going on, sometimes it's okay to talk about those kinds of things at work. But also, there's also so many people that say, you shouldn't talk politics, you shouldn't talk personal life. Something? I actually do sometimes talk politics in my office because people do. But you know what? I go into that with the intentions of saying, I'm only here to tell you guys how I feel. I'm completely okay with how you feel, So,
Yeah.
and I always end up having great conversations. I personally love having conversations with the people that are more liberal, because I always feel that so many great perspectives are shared. And I always say at the end of every conversation, whether it's a friend or whether it's a coworker, I say, I just want you to know I love having these conversations with you because you really know what you're talking about, and I respect that.
Yeah. I kind of agree to a point.
Mhm.
I think you also have to know who you're talking with and the situation. Like the last place I worked, I did have a group of friends and we would talk politics all the time. And that was, those were great conversations. But now, especially since I'm the new person, I don't want to walk into the office and go, what's everyone's perspective on Trump? Let's just have a discussion here. You have to kind of be aware of who you're talking to, and you don't know, like, if what you say is going to color their perspective on you, which, it shouldn't, but that's just, I guess it's human nature.
Yeah, and I remember this one time I was talking to one of my coworkers, and we were just talking about some of the news personalities, and I was talking to my friend about how talking to my coworker about how I actually watch a lot of Fox News, and she's like, "Oh, do you watch Hannity?" I said, "Let me tell you something about Sean Hannity. He is one step away from being on his show with one of those tinfoil hats on. I think he's losing his mind." And this is coming from someone who actually agrees with half the stuff that those news anchors say. It's like, he's losing his mind. I can't watch this guy anymore.
Yeah, like, you have to know your audience.
Exactly. I was wondering if Melissa wanted to jump in and say something. It sounded like she wants to say something.
Oh, well, I was just gonna say, like, I am also like the new person in my current workplace. I recently just got hired, but my job is a lot of downtime. There's a lot of time where we're just sitting there without a lot to do. So it's like been interesting trying to like figure out who all in the office likes each other and doesn't like each other, and like trying to find a way to navigate. Like, it's not a particularly dramatic workplace, but there are still those instances. So it's like, because we have so much downtime, there are a lot of conversations that are had, and I have had conversations about politics and stuff like that with people. But the one thing that I appreciate is the managers at my place of employment are they're really cool. They like love to have discussions. Like, I had like a political debate with one of my managers, and I've been there for like 2 months. And like, it was a great conversation, and he was like, "Yeah, no." He goes, "Wow." He was like, "I mean, that's a really cool perspective that you have on that." And then he was just like, "Oh, I'm going to go to lunch now." And like, it's been totally normal. Like, I feel like the managers at my workplace cultivate this really healthy atmosphere. So then the employees, even if they disagree, they also have this very healthy like mentality about it. So I think a lot of it is also like, if you're at a workplace and the managers are cultivating a really unhealthy atmosphere, don't be scared to walk away from that.
I agree.
They control what goes on. And that's like the main thing. Like, it's one thing to sit and like, I've only been there 2 months and I have already gotten a bonus and I've gotten like good reviews so far.
Good
But
for you.
if there was ever a point where the managers started, like, if I get moved to a different department and the managers make it like so difficult to work there, I would request to be moved. And I think the company that I work for would move me. They've moved people before who have been uncomfortable with management. So if you like, so another thing would just be, don't be scared to like approach someone in management, ask, "Hey, I'm not comfortable with this situation." Because if you're working for an actual professional place in a professional atmosphere, they will take that seriously.
Right. And another thing that I would definitely throw out, because I actually asked my bosses, like, they didn't intend to do so, but I actually asked them to give me an evaluation. because, you know, after a while of being there, I said to them, you know, I just want to know if you guys would just sit down with me and just give me an understanding of where we are right now, because one of the few things that I want to make sure of is that if I'm doing anything wrong, I would very much like you to tell me what it is so I can improve on it. And also, if you really feel that you should be, that you're not making, especially if you've been there for a while, and you know for a solid fact that you can do more, instead of just saying, you know, I deserve a promotion, you should give them, which is what I did, you should give them a list of things that if you do, in fact, give me this opportunity, here's what I intend to do. Here's what I'm going to bring to the table. Here are my ideas. Because I want to make sure that if someone's going to give me a raise or a promotion, I want them to know that it's worth their money. You gotta let them know you're not doing this because you're not just giving me money. I want to show you what I'm going to do because you gave me this opportunity. Show them that you really can be worth what they're paying.
Exactly.
And be modest about it. Show them the incentive, but also don't treat yourself. Don't say, oh, I'm going to be the best that you ever had. No, be humble, be modest. You have to show them that you're modest, because modesty is really what shows them your true, genuine self. And I also feel that that's something in the BookTube community that we need to see more of. We need to see more people being proud of who they are, but at the same time, not being this overly boastful person that really feels like they're 10 feet tall from everybody else, you know?
Yeah.
So then let's go into the third question. And the third question is something that I think we all have been talking about a lot lately, whether we're booktubers or YouTubers in general. And that's all about the subscriber counts. So the subscriber counts, so we're YouTube content creators, and then the subscriber counts start to go up a little bit. They do. Especially if you bring the fire every single time. You show that incentive, people are going to watch you because they love the passion. So when your subscriber count started to go up, did you feel the need to keep your YouTube persona separate from your actual life? Or did you feel that there was going to be a time when your two worlds actually converged? I think we tackled that just a teensy bit, but if you want, I'll be willing to begin with this. Basically, I was always someone that wanted to keep a very small digital footprint. I have my YouTube channel and my Twitter feed. They are not connected to any of my personal social media. If you actually took my full name, and I've done this before because this is something that I learned while I was getting my graduate's degree. If you Google yourself, you know, like I put my full name in there, you will not see my YouTube channel or my Twitter feed. You won't see any of them because my personal information is not there. I kept them separate. But when I started getting my master's degree and I started learning more about the importance of what YouTube did for me, then I provided a link on my LinkedIn page, but the separation is still there. I am someone that likes to share things with a lot of different people. I had no issue on my channel in my update videos, which people really do enjoy watching with the motivational moments and all that. I was very happy to say that, you know, I got engaged. I liked sharing the wedding planning. And I also like to, and I mean, you guys have watched it and you see that I sort of let people in, but I don't give too much because you don't want to go too far, but you still get the genuine idea. Yeah. But now where I had no issue with sharing those kinds of things, but when it comes to someone from YouTube being friends with me on Facebook, there has to be a really large amount of trust. So I will apologize to you, Taylor, because we're not friends on Facebook, and that's only because of the fact that it never came up in conversation. But Melissa and I are, but it took a very, very long time for the two of us to actually talk about it. And it was just because of the fact that we always commented on each other's videos, we worked together, we talked to each other in real time. So there was already a friendship there. So I felt comfortable sharing something like that.
Yeah.
But if my worlds do truly converge, it's very minute. Like I said, my digital footprint is very small, but I do have no issue sharing my YouTube channel with friends and family. And the fact that my friends and family don't even watch my stuff, except for maybe a couple, I'm completely cool with that. I think my biggest fan of my show is my aunt. And she only watches the throwback videos because she likes it when I talk about the old movies because that's her stuff.
Mhm.
But my parents and my siblings, they don't watch. Some of my best friend, you guys who have been watching my show, you probably recognize this name, the notorious Mr. Beagle. I've mentioned that name numerous times.
Mhm.
He is actually going to be on an episode of Sunday Sit Downs this summer. So everyone, if you've been very curious who this notorious Mr. Beagle is, you will meet him. He actually did show up on one episode of my show. We talked about Warcraft. But yeah, it's just like I have no issue letting the worlds converge, but if they do, there has to be a very good reason for it. And like BookCon or any other YouTube interaction meetup, that's also where the two worlds sort of do converge, but it's usually a hit or miss. Like there are some people that I will just speak to and I will just like have a good time just chatting with them, but that's pretty much all we'll do. And maybe we'll DM on Twitter every now and again. But a perfect example would be Alex from Pucks and Paperbacks. We're very good friends now, very, very good friends. And I'm so upset that he ended up going to BookCon on a whim, and I didn't get the chance to just hang out with him for a little while because we have been very, very good friends for a couple of years. And it's great to know that I have a friend in Alex. It really is. And the only thing that's upsetting is the fact that all the truly great friends that I met over the years just don't live anywhere near me. You know, that's always the big problem. But yeah, I do let the two worlds interact, but there's so many guidelines that I follow because at this point in time, I'm still one of those people that came from the generation of the internet's not the greatest place in the world. I think what's funny is it still isn't the greatest place in the world, and the problem is everybody knows each other now. That's what's even weirder. But yeah, that's my take on that.
I would say that I would agree with that. I would say my viewpoint on that is pretty similar. I do speak to some of the people that I have become friends with on the internet. I do speak to them regularly, but it's people that I have known for like at least like a minimum a year. And usually most of my conversations actually happen on Twitter, like in Twitter DMs. That's where most of my conversations happen. I think only one or two booktubers have my number, and the only booktuber who I'm Facebook friends with is Steve. A few of them follow my like private Instagram, but I think that's just because they found it, and it's like Allie from the Hardback Quarter. So it's like it is very much so like a very small group of people that I speak to regularly, anyways. And there are people that I speak to more sporadically on Twitter, but I don't typically like. It's not like I have them as part of my like everyday life, I would say. And that's not even so much a personal choice, whereas it's just like time management. Yet again,
Exactly.
like Steve said, a lot of them live really far away from me. So it's more like that. It's like I can't go visit them or hang out with them on the weekend, but I can like shoot them a text every so often, stuff like that. So it is like I would count these people as like genuinely my friends, but it's a different kind of friendship because it has this wall of technology behind it.
Yeah,
So yeah.
And I never annoy you. Unless it's a massive Funko Pop thing that I know you're gonna love. I reach out to you almost instantaneously. But yeah, I mean, like you're absolutely right.
Yes.
It's like I was fortunate enough to actually meet Marissa over at the book. I'm mixing up everything. Blatantly Bookish. So many bookish in booktuber names.
Yes.
But if you haven't watched Marissa over at
Mhm.
Blatantly Bookish, she is wonderful. She is actually one of my friends because we actually found out that we were practically neighbors. We literally lived 10 minutes away from each other.
Wow.
And yeah, so I met her fiance, and obviously she met my wife. We actually all went out to see Rocket Man last night. All four of us. We're really
wow.
yeah. I'm going to their wedding in September. I'm going to a booktuber's wedding. How does that happen?
That's cool.
But that's also the greatest thing. It's like we don't consider each other booktubers anymore. It's like we're just friends now. And it's amazing. And there are some booktubers that I haven't spoken to in so many years. Like, do you, Taylor probably doesn't, but I know Melissa was around. Do you remember Sarah from Sarah Ella?
Yes, I loved her channel.
I still talk to her. She's doing very well, thank
Oh.
goodness.
I'm
And
so glad. I'm so glad.
And yes, I am not ashamed to admit this, but do you guys remember the BookTube Powder Keg? Remember the Brie Fauché video about diversity?
I remember
I
because
don't.
I'm still friends with her.
Because we had a conversation about that. We had a lot of conversations about that because I didn't know what had happened, and then you sort of broke down it for me and then I saw the video right before it was deleted, and it like blew up. I think some good discussions definitely came out of it, but I definitely think there was so much misunderstanding. So much misunderstanding came out of that. That was the first big BookTube scandal. I think.
Yeah. You want to know?
That was
one
of the first BookTube scandals.
Yeah, and you want to know what the craziest thing about that video was? If it wasn't for that video, I probably would have voted for Hillary Clinton.
Interesting.
She was the main reason that her video and the
Mm-hmm.
message that she sent, that was how I discovered the SJWs and the crazy lunatic leftists, not the liberals, the leftists. And I was like, I don't want to be a part of this group. I will not be a part of this group. I don't like what they are and what they represent, especially straight white male here. I have nothing against anyone else. Why am I being treated like I'm the devil incarnate because of my skin color? So I was like, screw all you people. I'm going to the other side.
Some people tend to put their foot in their mouth a lot.
Oh yeah, and what they have foot and mouth disease for about 5 months after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and and Stacey, yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say I think that was it was such a heated time in general, and that I just think that video came at a good part because at a good time because I think the conversations needed to be had, but I also think it came at the worst possible time it could have for Brie. I think it came at a good time for the community to grow, but I think it came at a really bad time for Brie and her channel and her mental health and her.
Yeah. She's doing wonderfully
now. She's no longer on BookTube.
She's doing wonderfully now. Yeah, and Stacey from Stacey's Stories is another person who's still very small, and I love the fact that and I'm sorry, Taylor, I know that you have to say your piece, but I'm just enjoying the conversation. But Stacey is someone that I got along with so well, and my wife and I take a pilgrimage down to Washington, D.C. once a year because that's where she went to college. So all of her good friends are still down there. But now, I mean, all of her friends are wonderful people. I get along with them so well, but now it's not just going down there to see them. It's like we see my wife's two friends and their families, and we also make sure that we see Stacey. She comes to the National Mall, and we spend the day on the National Mall. We have lunch. It's amazing. I love the fact that I've actually become friends with so many people, and now like some of them are very big pieces of my life. There's still so many people that I actually haven't met in person. Like obviously I haven't met the two of you, which is something that I hope changes very soon. Because I know for a solid fact that we would probably end up talking for 15,000 hours about nothing and have the most amazing time ever. I mean, I could totally see me and Melissa walking around Midtown Comics and just never leaving because there's too much shit in there to look at. And Taylor, I can imagine just see you and me just like sitting in Bryant Park till sundown, just talking about politics, and it would just be the greatest time of our lives. I swear.
Yeah. Honestly, like booktube friendships are so important to me, and it's so weird because I think I've only ever met 3 booktubers in real life, and most of the ones I talk to on a regular basis, I don't know, know in terms of I've met in real life.
Well, if we actually all end up at BookCon next year, and something starts to go down, I'm just gonna like turn to you guys. I just want to get the hell out of here. Let's just go to like the local pizza joint, just grab a slice and just bullshit for a couple of hours.
Ain't nobody got time for this.
Exactly. Well, one of the few things that I have to introduce you. Yeah, well, one of the few things that I have to introduce you guys to is you guys have to check out Donut Plant at the little kiosk at Grand Central Station, because I would never ask anyone to go from the Javits Center all the way down to the Lower East Side. Some of the best donuts in New York City. And I know that one of the few things that was going on in strains of tweets when people were at BookCon, everyone was talking about the bagels and the pizza, but I'm sorry, if you are not vegetarian, you have to go to one of those true, authentic Jewish delicatessens, and you have to get yourself a pastrami sandwich. You cannot leave New York City without eating a pastrami or a corned beef sandwich. I will not, if you meet me, I will not let you leave Manhattan until you eat one. And trust me, the price may be a little steep, but the amount of food you get is worth every damn penny you spend. And that is a guarantee.
I'm excited for next year's BookCon because I had a bagel for breakfast and it was a thin, sad California bagel. And I was like, people would punch me in the face right now.
Oh, I would never do that. I mean, you gotta. I wonder if it's true. Like, well, did you ever watch the show Entourage?
No.
See, there was a moment in the show where one of the characters actually said you got to go to the Jewish area of Long Island of Los Angeles because the religious Jews import the water from Borough Park. That's why their bagels are so good. I was like, if that actually is the truth, I would not be surprised in the slightest. Because it was also kind of funny because like I was watching watching all of my friends who were there, and 2 of the people that I did follow were Maddie from Maddie Lee Reads and Abby from Tulip Swift, and they were constantly talking about the pizza. And I also said to them, you've got to go to a store right in the heart of Midtown called Bravo's, some of the best pizza you'll ever have. But here's the kicker, it's kosher. And one of them, who actually happens to be Jewish too, couldn't believe that I said that. She's like, the next time I come to New York, I got to go there. So I'm like, what? She's like, I like the fact that see, that's one of the other things that people need to understand. It's like, if you're going to do stuff that is YouTube related, especially if you're going to be going to another city, you got to spend some time just enjoying the city itself. It's like people who just literally came, went to Book Expo, went to BookCon, and went back home. I was like, you missed everything. And when are you coming back? Because you have no idea what you missed.
Yeah, I wanted to do something like that during Y'all West when people were in LA because it was held in Santa Monica and I work in Santa Monica. So I was like, oh, I should like do a booktube gathering and we can go check out like the sights of Los Angeles. But I didn't have a car, so obviously that didn't go through. But
that's the one advantage that you've got with New York. Tons of public transit.
Yeah, Los Angeles has absolutely no public transportation. So yeah.
No, it's just like
20 minutes. I had to drive like 20 minutes to get to like the nearest McDonald's, so
wow.
I feel the pain of not having a car.
I remember my friend once telling me, because she lived in Utah, it's like I have to go a half an hour just to get to a Starbucks.
That's so sad.
No, yeah, my nearest Starbucks is like 40 minutes away.
What?
Yeah.
I mean,
God.
I live in
look,
the middle of nowhere.
I live an hour north of the city, but this is still like very suburban. I mean, like one of the funny reasons as to why I thought this was the best house to buy was the fact that we were 10 minutes away from a Target and a supermarket. I was like, that's amazing.
You know what? That's good. Those are like the two things you need the most.
Oh yeah, along with an ATM machine that's part of your bank, but which I still have yet to actually find one near my house. But I really don't care because when I go to work, there's 3 of them within 1 block from my office, so I have no issue with that. I've got like 8. I'm not gonna lie, in like a 5-block radius, there are 8 Dunkin' Donuts and like 4 Starbucks. So I have no issue with getting a coffee in the morning.
Good old Dunkin' Donuts. I feel like
Yeah.
ridiculous amounts of Dunkin' Donuts is such a New York thing because there were like 30 million Dunkin' Donuts where I live. Like, and every time I go to any other state, there's nowhere near as many.
Well, it's really an East Coast thing. Taylor was at the central hub of Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh my God. I hate Dunkin' Donuts. The only thing that's good about, like, the donuts are great. It's the coffee and the tea that's just nasty.
Well, to a certain degree, in their defense, every one of them makes their coffee very different, but they just literally, especially in the city. Well, the reason why I said Taylor knows everything about Dunkin' Donuts is because she went to college in Boston, and that's basically where Dunkin' Donuts was born. But Dunkin' Donuts, it all depends on where you go. Some of them make it very different, but also I just realized, like, what my sister hates Dunkin' Donuts because she always says that they water it down. But I actually started doing something new. I didn't know that you could actually request, if you get an iced coffee, that you can request less ice. So now I get my coffees with less ice.
Honestly, yeah. I mean,
I always do that.
I think that's my biggest complaint with Dunkin' is that everything is so watered down. So I guess I'll have to remember that next time I'm in Boston.
Well, now you're absolutely right. It's really an East Coast thing. You'll find tons of them in Boston, in Connecticut, there's tons of them oh my God, there's tons in Jersey. So many Dunkin' Donuts in Jersey. And I also feel that and I also feel that it's more of a suburban kind of thing. I feel that you find a lot more Starbucks like in the cities themselves, but when you really go out into the suburbs, you start seeing a lot more Dunkin' Donuts than you do Starbucks.
In Boston, they were like on every corner.
Well, I'll give you a fun fact about Boston and New York. When I went to Boston a couple years back, my friends and I all agreed that it was like a bizarro New York, and we all know what the bizarro is.
Oh,
but it's sort of not. And one of the funniest things that I found out was, at the time, there was the exact same amount of Dunkin' Donuts stores in the city limits of Boston. It was exactly equivalent to the amount of McDonald's that were in Manhattan.
Really?
84 Dunkin' Donuts in Boston and 84 McDonald's in Manhattan. So I'm like, that's bizarro to the max.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So we're about to get to the top of our first hour. Yeah, we're about to get to the top of this first hour, and I've got to say, this conversation has gone in so many awesome directions, it's not even funny. But I love the fact that we're really talking more about real world stuff, and just like, because like everything that we've discussed has really, YouTube has sort of been a part of it. And that's what I think is really, really cool. And the fact that we're talking about coffee now is even better. But just in case everybody doesn't know, this video is going to go up on my channel tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Because like I said, I'm not hosting it today on my channel. Taylor was gracious enough to offer her channel. So once again, Taylor, thank you. So you guys will be able to come and see this video unfiltered whenever you want on her channel, unless she wants the pretty intro and outro. That's entirely up to her, and Melissa can have it too if she wants it. But yeah, it'll be up on my channel at 7 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard Time, and you guys will be able to watch it as many times or as never, whenever you want. So let's get into the fourth question, and we've already scratched the surface on this. But let's talk about some milestones and big changes that you had, whether they were actual YouTube related or just something that happened to you personally. Did they affect you as a content creator? Also, I will throw in another small curve here just to broaden the discussion on this question. Something that may have happened through somebody else's YouTube channel that influenced you.
Okay. So I can go. So for me, I just reached the 400 subscriber milestone, which actually doesn't sound like, thank you. You know, I've been on YouTube for a couple years now, but I've had to take a couple of hiatuses. So despite all of these hiatuses, because I would not film or post when I was in school, or, you know, if I was working a lot, you know, I wouldn't have the time. So it's really nice to reach 400. In terms of real life, I guess starting a new job, which has led to a sort of semi-hiatus for me. But I'm sorry, what was the third curveball question?
Oh, the other thing was, were there anything? No, don't worry about this. This happens at least once an episode. No shame in that. The small additional piece was, did anything in someone else's did a certain thing that actually happened in YouTube itself, whether it was in the BookTube community or just in YouTube in general? It could be anything from an actual video that you saw to a format change. Did it change you as a content creator or affect you in any way?
Okay, well, I would say, honestly, using my iPhone to film, it's not a major thing, but if you look at my earlier pre-iPhone days, my camera quality is really bad, the sound quality is awful, and so just hearing that other YouTubers didn't need to spend money on a really fancy camera really helps, so I just use my iPhone to film now, and that, I think, has increased the quality of my content. And has given me more confidence because I know my videos are looking a lot better than they were. So it's a small thing, but I think that's been a really big change in my channel.
Right.
Okay, so I'm trying to think. Probably, well, a pretty big milestone is I did recently hit 2,000 subscribers, which is something that I've been trying to reach for I had been trying to reach it for a really long time. I had like this big stagnant point in my channel where I was not gaining subscribers at all, and then I just like one day randomly hit 2,000. It all just sort of came in all at once, and I think I attribute that a lot to the fact that I joined Book Twitter, which I hadn't even had a Twitter account before that, and I decided to make one, which has been sometimes a negative and sometimes a positive, but I do think it did give my channel a lot more exposure. Also, I did end up getting a really nice filming camera, and I purchased a ring light, which I think has really added to the quality of my videos. My videos look so much better than they ever have, and it's just really made me put more effort into my videos because I feel like I want the content to live up to quality of what the video looks like. And for something that is a BookTube related thing that changed my mindset, that is, I've recently, this year, I've sort of, within the past year and a half, I have switched up my content, I feel like, quite a bit. I'm still doing reviews of the same sort of videos I did before, but I feel like I'm taking a more professional approach to it. And I have like sort of created ongoing series in my channel and doing like specialty videos and really just playing around more with the creativity around creating bookish content. And I attribute a lot of that to the first thing that really inspired me to do this is a lot of people were doing videos where they predicted if books were going to be 5 stars, and then they'd read them, and then they'd like show off like reading vlogs of what the experiences was reading those, and then giving reviews. And I thought that was a really fun idea. So I just started doing different kinds of like videos based upon that. And I think a lot of this came from Lala from Books and Lala, who has truly just like changed so much of what BookTube is and what BookTube has become, content-wise. She's done a lot of amazing stuff, and I think everyone sort of, I feel like, has taken inspiration from her. But it's not so much I want to do the same kind of content as her as I want to sort of branch out and be as creative as her, even if my content is drastically different from hers.
Right. No, that's great to know, and I'm glad that you said what you said, because I do agree. As far as my own experience, I think that everybody that I have connected with and people whose videos I watch, I feel that a little bit of my channel's growth is because of every person that I've truly developed a strong bond with, or at least someone whose videos I watch on a constant basis, because I was really just someone, because remember, I started my YouTube channel back in 2011. So YouTube was a very different place in 2011. I mean, there was no BookTube community, period. So I was just doing my own thing. And yes, I was also someone who was very outgoing. Like, I really wanted to comment on people's videos. That was something that I always knew was one of the most important things. You have to let the people, if you like their content, you got to let the people know that you like what you're watching. And at the same time, if you really want to try and make a connection with someone, you got to give them a comment that really makes them want to respond. Because, hey, nice video doesn't always fly with everybody. For you guys and me, it might fly, just because of the fact that we know that we can find each other on social media and continue the conversation and go in greater depth. Because unfortunately, you can't have a great conversation in the YouTube comments unless you make a massive chain, and to many people, that's annoying.
I just did that the other day. I don't know if you're familiar with, I think his name is A.G. McDonald. He does like animation videos.
He's been commenting on my videos a lot lately, actually.
He's great. And I also, he posted a video on diversity or marketing diversity recently. I don't know if you've seen it. Great video. I didn't agree with all of his points, but I wanted to like just discuss them with him. And I was like, well, I'm just going to leave a few comments and it's going to be fine. And then I wrote an essay and I was like, oh, this looks bad. So just let you know, I still really like your video and I agree with all of your points. I just thought I'd leave my thoughts here. Sorry for the dissertation. Bye.
Well, you see, but you see, a truly respectful YouTuber will actually read it.
He did.
A truly respected YouTuber will read an entire comment from just another average YouTuber more than any politician read the Mueller report. Yes, I'm going there, people. I am going there. But anyway, so I was just doing that stuff. But when I actually found out about a scandal that actually happened in YouTube involving sexual harassment in 2014 from big YouTuber names that were just trying to like influence in a negative way smaller YouTubers, it was really disgusting when I heard about that, because when I was in YouTube in the very beginning, there was an annual survey that was made by a YouTube content creator named Alex Day. And I actually participated in that. And this guy was one of the culprits of this whole scandal. And I was like saying to myself, so I'm actually in my 30s now, in my early 30s. And I'm saying to myself, you know, to a lot of younger people, I'm probably a creeper. And I don't want to be that kind of person. So I made a video, and it ironically was my 400th video. And I basically talked about how, yes, I'm an older YouTuber, but I just want people to understand that I don't want to be perceived as one of those kinds of people. And I want to be a positive voice here, because I always knew that this was never going to be my day job. And I just want people to know that there's an older voice out there if you need someone to talk to, if you're lacking in your creativity, or you just don't know where you're going, or if you just need to talk to someone. I'm willing to listen. You don't have to talk to me, but I'm willing to listen. And that was when I really started to change a couple of things in my channel. That's when the motivational moments started, because that was also when I was starting to really connect with other people. And yeah, I didn't have Twitter when I came to YouTube. I always when I first found out that Twitter was something, I always said to myself, it's the stupidest idea. I was like, why does the world need to know when you poop? You know, that was my attitude on Twitter. But when Sarah Ella told me how important Twitter was, I can't stop. I love the fact that you really can create extremely strong bonds. And yeah, I mean, look, Melissa, I'm so happy to see that, because I found you when you were really, really new. And I love the fact that you have 2,000 subscribers. I wish that I could be there at this point in time after doing this for 9 years, but I've also been very stagnant. But I think part of it is because of the fact that life has taken a major piece of my life, for the sake that I can't just go see 50 movies a year in theaters. They're expensive. So I have to cut it down. And the fact that I'm really not providing much of anything that's new, and I'm really focusing on a lot of stuff that's older now, I feel that it's just not for the common interest of everybody. Now, Taylor, someone like you who watches classic movies, would probably love watching those kinds of reviews. Melissa, you love anything that I talk about that's comic book related or classic. Or Melissa and Taylor, you guys like anything that I post. I can post a video about underwater basket weaving, and as long as I bring the passion, you guys will be happy about that.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
but that's also what I say about lots of people on YouTube. It's like, if you're passionate, I don't care what your video is about. As long as you show me that you love talking about it, and I just love the person that's attached to those words, I will watch. Like, I don't intend to read 70 to maybe even 80% of the books that most booktubers recommend. But I love the person that's talking about them, because they just come to me with such an interest and a passion. And even if someone is trash talking a book that I have no intention to read, I love the fact that the person has just got a set of balls to trash talk a book, especially if it's a popular book. That's where I love. That's what I love the most. But also, when Bree made that video about diversity, that was where I really started to make changes in my videos, because I didn't want to be, you know, my channel ain't no safe space. It's not a safe space. If there's something that makes me angry, I'm going to talk about it. And if it's something that you love, I don't care, because that's just the way that I feel. I respect you for liking what you like, but if I don't like it, don't come at me because I'm hurting your feelings. Facts don't care about your feelings, as the great Ben Shapiro says. And even if you don't like Ben Shapiro, you know that that's true. But I just want to be myself. And I want people to know who I am without giving too much away. So I feel that all of that has been such an influence, and the live streaming has been such an impactful thing for my channel. I just wish that YouTube would learn how to cooperate with me. That's the major problem. But this show that we're doing right now, I think, was one of the most brilliant ideas that I ever came up with. Not trying to sound egotistical or toot my own horn, but what I look at it as is, it's a way for people who are subscribed to me to know who else is out there. And also, even if they watch these people, they only see a certain side. Doing a show like this and talking about what we're talking about, if your watchers are watching this right now, they're probably blown away, because I'm like, I never heard these things before. Like, this is so interesting, because now people are probably finding more commonalities or more talking points that they want to hear more about. So they want to get to know you more now because they like what they're seeing. And that's why I feel that that YouTube is not just kiddie videos anymore. It's literally a community. And people are talking to each other, and people are trying to share differing opinions, at least I hope most people are trying to share. But that's where I feel that those three things, the scandal that happened in 2014, the video that made me take a better perspective on my own attitude, and the ability to connect with people in so many different ways now and really build friendships through these platforms, that's where I feel my channel has changed a great deal.
Yeah.
I will say one thing. I just thought of something else that has really impacted my channel is, I think in a weird way, because I think going to how things in your outside world affect your YouTube life. I have yet to finish my degree because I'm taking some time off to pay off some of my loans and then go back and take less classes at a time so I can focus on my current job. But I do plan on going into marketing, and that is like what I'm planning on going into, and it's what I've been wanting to go into for a while now. So I've taken a lot of classes about marketing and statistics and all of that. And I don't typically apply that to my YouTube channel, but I've just started recently doing that and like paying more attention to booktube trends and things like that, and making sure if I'm interested in a book that's really popular, getting my hands on it really early, reading it quickly, and getting a review out there. Because I did a review of Again But Better, Christine's book that came out, full and video on that book.
Yes.
I did a review of that, and that video has, like, my reviews typically don't get a lot of views, but my reviews of the Throne of Glass books, whenever those came out, have done very well. Each one of them has some of them have over 2,000 views on them, which is a lot for a small booktube channel. My video of Christine's, within 5 days, it got 600 views, which, yet again, for someone who has 2,000 subscribers and whose videos usually get anywhere from like 60 views to 200 views typically, just based upon which one of my subscribers like the specific kind of content I put out, that's a lot of views for me to acquire in 5 days. So just the fact that I saw this book and I requested an arc of it, and I made sure I read it and posted the review around the time of the release date. I also ended up getting like 30 subscribers over like one day, the first day I posted that video, and I don't think that's a coincidence. So just like starting to pay attention to what's being talked about and what are sort of trends, and doing my own spin on those things and having my own opinions. It's okay to sort of bandwagon as long as you're doing it in a way that's true to yourself and what you believe, and you're not just sort of spouting opinions for the sake of getting like clout or views. Like I talked about like the drama around unhauls and hauling in libraries, but basically what I just did was, the whole video was me making fun of people who were offended by Marie Kondo telling us we shouldn't have 15 books.
Oh my god.
So like, stop bullying this like adorable woman who's just trying to like make sure people aren't hoarders. Like, calm down, leave her alone.
Yeah, and you know what? Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
So dumb. So, I was just like saying that basically, like, sort of paying attention to trends and picking and choosing the ones that fit my brand and fit me as a person, has really helped my channel to grow a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's so funny that you mentioned like Marie Kondo, because you guys know that obviously one of my favorite things to collect is Funko Pops. That's just one of my favorite things. And it's like, it's because it's an extension of a lot of my fandoms. But it's so funny because when I do my monthly pop updates, at one point in time, my videos, those specific videos that I was doing once a month, were getting like 500 to 1,000 views each. They really were. But there's also been so much hate for Funko Pops now. So much hate.
One of my friends hates them.
And it's because, and a lot of the reasons as to why there's been a massive amount of hate for them is just because of the fact that when Funko Pops came out, people literally were going to stores and buying every single pop that they could get their hands on. It wasn't about collecting the thing for sentimental value. It was like, nope, gotta get this one, gotta get that one, gotta get that one, gotta get that one. Like, you grabbed and you grabbed and you grabbed to the point till your money was gone. So you're literally, and then you're looking at your collection and you got a massive amount of buyer's remorse. Like, it's literally weighing you down. It's like, I talk about Pops a lot. I do. But when I tell people how big my collection is, they don't believe me.
Really?
Oh yeah, my collection it's compared to the average Funko Pop collector, because I've seen some of these. Like, I see people that have anywhere from 700, 800, over 1,000. I just have a little under 160. I'm sorry, 260.
Really? Wow.
That's all very small. And that's just because of the fact that I just like to talk about them. I mean, like, I just picked up the Rush triple pack. All 3 members of Rush. Why? Because I love Rush. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. So I had to get them. I also just picked up, it's coming in the mail now, the brand new comic book moment of Batman and Robin in the comic books, just like sitting on a rooftop, ready to foil crime. Why am I getting that? Because I have Adam West Batman. I have Batfleck. I have Dark Knight Returns Batman. I have Batman Animated Series Batman. Why am I getting this? Because I want some kind of a memorable moment. I want some kind of a physical memory to the 80th anniversary of Batman. That's why I want it. And I think it looks absolutely beautiful. I mean, and it's also like when it comes to some of the major lines, like Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Star Wars. I don't, okay, MCU. Do you want to know how many Funko Pops I have from the MCU line?
How many?
5.
Wait, what?
5.
I didn't know that. Only 5?
4 Groots, because I need every incarnation of Groot. I have everything from baby Groot to adult Groot. And ironically, they're all exclusives.
What?
And the only other one that I have is right over there, and it's the movie moment of Hulk smashing Loki, because it's my favorite moment in the Avengers. That's all. That's all I have.
Wow.
My Funko collection is so small. I have, let me think. I have the two of the Preacher Pop Funkos from the television show, because you know I love that show. I have 2 of those. I have 2 Star Wars ones. I have Poe Dameron, and then I have I don't even remember what the other one I have because I can't see it right now. I have Garrus from Mass Effect because he's my favorite character from a video game ever. I had to. I have Alice from Alice in Wonderland because that's my childhood favorite book. I have Ron Weasley because I love Ron Weasley. I have a tiny Dobby, like a tiny one, because it's so cute. I have Mycroft from Sherlock because he's the best Sherlock character. I have Sadness from Inside Out because that's me. And I have a Weeping Angel and Jack Harkness. And then I have Giles and Willow from Buffy. And that's all of the Pop Funkos I own. And I have the Avatar collection coming.
That's the thing.
I'm super exclusive.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
I'm very exclusive.
Yeah, it's like I still have a couple of them coming in the mail. Like I have one of the shows that they just turned into a pop line was Cheers. So I had and I watched all of Cheers recently, but they have the whole collection is 5 of them. I don't want all 5 of them. I just want Cliff and Norm. That's all that I want. Like one of my all-time favorite movies just got a pop line earlier this year, Office Space.
I haven't heard of that movie.
Oh, dear Lord. No, it's like, no. And I only got 1. And I got Bill Lumbergh because I'm a Gary Cole fanatic. I love him. And I was and my wife came down while I was watching American Pie last night. And she's like, just watch a little bit of it with me. I said, if they ever make an American Pie pop line, I just want Jim's dad. That's all. I just want Jim's dad. Because I love Eugene Levy. But I will say, and I think Melissa will back me up on this one, I think she and I are still extremely waiting for the Seinfeld line.
I need it. I will buy the whole line. All of them.
I will buy them all. I will buy them all. I don't care. I actually, in my new Funko Pop update that's coming out next week, did you guys know that Funko actually bought a baseball field? Like they have Funko Field now in Everett, Washington. Like they are like either sponsors or owners. Yeah, they like own the Everett Aqua Sox. And do you know who the manager is of the team? Apparently, it's Jay Buhner. So I talk about the pop,
What?
and I talk about the Funko Pop, and I say when I heard that he's the manager, all I could think of was this, and I showed the Seinfeld clip. What the hell did you trade Jay Buhner for? Yeah, I'm actually rewatching Seinfeld right now. It's oh god, like
It's
you know
so
my
good.
brother
It's
doesn't
so
like
good.
my brother doesn't
Have
like
you watched?
Funko Pops. What do I watch?
Oh. Have you seen Comedians in Cars?
Oh, I love comedian in car getting
It's
coffee.
scary. It's so good.
Oh, it's a
So
wonderful
good.
show. I can't wait for the new season. No, it's like I know my brother doesn't
Mhm.
like Funko Pops, but I have a strange feeling that if they ever made a Jay Peterman, he would probably like it. Yeah, I love Jay Peterman is fantastic. He's one of the I made such a mistake when I went to Vegas back in 2007. I had the opportunity to get tickets for a production of Spamalot. John O'Hurley was actually playing King Arthur. What a mistake that was not getting it. What a
That's
mistake.
incredible.
What a mistake.
Oh,
All right,
that
so
would have been
yeah.
so good.
Yeah, I could just like imagine him like quoting lines from the Jay Peterman catalog while he's actually doing his line just for the sake of ad-libbing. All right, so let's get into the fifth question, and that is some of the difficulties in life, did they carry on into your YouTube world? And did they make you want to be more open or build more barriers?
I would say for me, I would say like to a certain extent, yes, just as the idea of me being when I started my YouTube channel, I was very introverted. I've definitely changed as a person a lot since then. I'm much more of an extroverted person now, but I was a very introverted like teen, and I think that definitely you can see that in my earlier videos. I was a much more like shy, enclosed sort of person, and I think I was that for a while. So I definitely think just my natural personality, even though I had a little more freedom to be myself because I was just speaking to a camera in my own room, in my own element, I still think I wasn't ever as much myself in those earlier videos as I am now. And I think that a lot of that was just due to my experience in school and just my experience as who I was as a person, and my personality back then definitely had a lot to do with the way I was presented in my earlier videos as opposed to now.
I know, and part of me was kind of hoping that you were coming online with the Pride eyeshadow because that was bitchin'. I loved it.
Oh yeah, it turned out so good. I was so proud.
And that just shows you that just shows you that you're just a completely different person. Because yes, I remember your earlier videos. I could definitely tell that you were really. I could tell that you wanted to like bear it all, but you kept a lot of yourself in. But yes, over the past couple of years, you've really started to really be more of your natural self and just not be afraid to say anything that was on your mind. And I appreciate and respect that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been really nice.
It's freeing. It's very liberating.
Yes.
For me, I think I would say, I'm a pretty shy person in real life. My mom calls it fake shy because everything I do that would be considered, I guess, not shy or extroverted is very much not forced, but I have to like get myself to do it. So it took me a long time to get comfortable in front of the camera. And I would say I'm still not 100% comfortable in front of the camera. I have a video coming out in a few weeks where my friend and I go to Barnes and Nobles and she picks out books for me. And it's just so awkward and we're both so shy. But, a lot of it is just getting comfortable in front of a camera. And in terms of real life situations, I just, like I've said before, I sort of tend to keep them to myself. My channel is about, for me, books and my opinion on books and sometimes movies when YouTube won't give me a copyright strike, which they did on my last video.
Listen, reach out to me at some point in time. I'll teach you how to avoid them.
Please, thank you.
Less than 6, no more than 7 seconds.
7 seconds.
7 seconds. That's why almost all of my Friday 5 videos don't have copyright strikes.
Okay, I'll do that.
But also remember, there's a very big difference between copyright strike and just demonetization. If it's just demonetization, don't worry about it. That's nothing.
Yeah, the first one was a copyright strike. And that's when okay, stop. Like, so that's put that sort of video on hold. But, you know, when it comes to real life, you know, I wasn't making videos about, you know, the situation I was in last year, or, you know, I didn't want to bring that onto BookTube. You know, it's about books and reading and just this side of my life that's really happy, you know, unless I'm reading something bad, but, you know, that's a good time. And I feel like it would just sort of bring the vibe of my channel down if I started speaking about like, hey, I'm not in this great situation and I'm going to tell you why. You know, that's for DMs and private conversations. But for what I'm putting forth to the public, I'd rather it be the happiest or best version of myself.
Yeah, I just thought a thought just popped into my head, but I'm going to put that into the next question until I get my piece out. One of the few things that I will compliment the both of you on is something that I still have never been able to do. You have had your siblings on your videos. I really appreciate the fact that your siblings are actually appreciative of the fact that you both are content creators and are willing to actually share these things. Although I will say the most hilarious idea that has come out of YouTube this year is my cat chooses my TBR.
Oh, it's so funny. I'm about to do one of those.
Funny.
But the problem is it's like if my cat will cooperate. Like
Yeah, that's
I love what is it? Chelsea. Have the girl who has her goats pick her books. Have you seen those?
How is that possible?
She like
they
has a bunch of goats and her goats pick her. Hang on. Let me look. I got it.
Oh my God!
I'm trying to remember her channel. I'm looking it up right now. Well, first off, I love her channel. Her channel name is just escaping me currently. I will find it and I will tell you guys because first off, her channel's great. She's hilarious. She's super sassy. But her goats pick her TBR and it's incredible.
I am shocked that they do that because goats eat books. Maybe
that's how they pick it. Like whichever book is the tastiest, that's what you read.
Yeah, but then she's got to buy herself a new copy of the book. That's the problem. It's a big gamble with money.
The sacrifices we make for our channel.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. For me, I honestly, I really feel that I have no regrets with anything that I've talked about. I do feel that the last couple of years have really been me being more comfortable with me because even myself, especially if you watch and I've done it, I've watched like the first 3 years of my channel, there's been some stuff that is just flat and boring. Like it's just not good. But it's only because of the fact that I was learning. But I also felt that when I realized that I wanted to be something different rather than just a content creator, but also be a helping hand, like that was where I really saw my channel change, as well as also like branching out into different areas and just trying to create niche markets, which was very, very good. And I didn't say this earlier, but Melissa, I'm a marketing major. So that's a great career plan for you. I wish you so much luck. I would probably, if I were to give you any kind of advice, I would definitely say when it comes to looking for jobs, definitely look for things in digital marketing because that's probably where the jobs are.
Yeah, I'll second that.
That's definitely, definitely in the digital marketing, you're going to find definitely look into that stuff and definitely look into business analytics because you mentioned you took a lot of statistics and stuff like that. That's also a great avenue to go down in regards to marketing and stuff like that. I would definitely suggest that for starting.
I find it really interesting that we're all marketing people.
Oh yeah, that's right. You are. Oh wow.
I work in marketing. I didn't major in marketing, but I ended up there.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I work in nonprofit, but a lot of my marketing skills are really brought to this because dealing with just faculty and dealing with statistics and stuff like that, you also have to market the style of your formatting to the faculty members so they actually understand what you're doing. But I also do work a little bit with the marketing department. I actually do help manage their YouTube channel.
So do I.
Yeah, so it's like,
you
yeah, it was like,
that.
yeah, because I was literally just sitting at my desk and I was listening to the head of the marketing department and she was starting to talk about YouTube. I was like, we don't really know where to go. And I was like, I can help you. And I said to her, I could also do this for you at a very cheap price. I said, because if you're going to look for someone that's specifically going to be for your YouTube channel, you're going to like throw down a ton of money. I'm already getting a salary here. You know, I can do this for half the price. So it all worked out at the end, you know, but no, I was glad that I was able to actually help. So that was a big plus. So the sixth question that I
found
had.
that girl.
No,
Real
please.
quick, I found that girl's video. The goat
Great.
girl. I found her channel.
Well, it was
Chelsea
that obvious.
Palmer.
What is it?
Wait a minute. Why
Chelsea
does
Palmer. I knew was Chelsea.
Chelsea
She's a
Palmer?
pretty big YouTuber. She has 3
Oh, I love
videos
her.
of her goats picking
I
her
think I
TBR.
know her.
Have you seen her videos with her goats picking her TBR?
I haven't. I'm going to have to.
Yeah, the best.
She has 3 of them.
I don't know many people on YouTube. I don't know their pets. I only know 2 of them. I know Pucks and Paperback's cat Luna, and I also and my favorite booktuber pet is without a doubt Reggie from Don't Stop Reading's corgi Yogi. Yogi is the greatest thing in the world. I love Yogi.
Agreed.
He is the greatest thing in the world. I mean,
Also
when I last
Reggie.
chatted with her in real time. Yeah, Reggie's well, I've worked with Reggie on a project. She was such a delight to work with. And the last time that we talked in real time, I actually asked her how Yogi was doing, and she actually had him come up onto the screen. Oh, so, what an adorable pup. My wife and I have no intentions to have a pet because we are not really animal people, but whenever we see people who have pets, we do like to be around their pets and pet them and stuff. Like right now, the closest thing that we have for a pet is a wild rabbit that camps out under our deck when it's hot. That's the closest we have to a pet. We do not feed it, we do not pet it, but we let him be. So the 6th question that I have is probably going to be fun, and hopefully we won't run out of time because we're heading into the last 30 minutes. YouTube drama. Does it take its toll, and does it affect you? And how do you cope with it if it does? And this is where I want to throw out another talking point. Do you feel that when someone is posting something about their current state on Twitter, do you feel that most of the time is it genuine, or do you think that people are just craving attention? I really hope that doesn't offend anybody, but I don't know why, but sometimes I feel that people do that just for the sake of getting attention. Not all the time, but sometimes.
I can go if you want.
No, please. No. If I
sure.
want, come on. This is a free platform here. Talk.
So to start with your last question, I don't want to make any assumptions about anyone because, you know, if someone is feeling upset or depressed or anything like that, I don't want to, you know, take a chance to go, oh, well, this person is faking it, because for all I know, that person could be, and for all I know, they don't have anyone they can talk to in real life. And
True.
Twitter is how they get all of those feelings out, sort of like it's like a living journal. I mean, if you saw my Tumblr when I was 13 or something, it's just all 13-year-old depression posts. I wasn't depressed. I was just an angsty 13-year-old, but for me, those feelings were real, you know?
Right.
And, you know, I wouldn't want to assume that to anyone else, those feelings aren't real. When it comes to YouTube drama, I really don't get in the middle of it. I love gossip. I love it. So I like to know with the
Me too.
with the whole string of YouTube drama, I won't actively participate in it, but I will be on my phone for hours, like cross-checking hashtags and like going through other people's things, or, you know, those people on BookTube who are always like either in the drama or they know about the drama, I'll
Yeah.
go through their page to try and find it. You know, I like to know what's going on, but I don't like to be a part of it. I think the last
Yeah.
time I was a part of it was that weird, like, Game of Thrones incest discussion that was going on.
Yeah, because we had a conversation, like, because I tweeted that joke about it and you commented, and it was like the most wholesome interaction that came out of all of that.
Well, because I had very strong opinions, but I didn't want to be like, oh, you're a terrible person for thinking this way. I just think it's not a great.
And I was laughing because a lot of the people who I saw being angry about this, I've watched them actively tweet about how Jaime Lannister is one of their favorite characters. And I was like, I don't know a lot about Game of Thrones, but I know about Jaime Lannister. And that's not a character that you're allowed to defend.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not a character you can defend and then attack someone
for
like having a random ship.
See, for me, I feel like I had the moral high ground because I don't watch Game of Thrones for a lot of reasons. And like a lot of people were bringing up the Mortal Instruments, and I stopped reading after that weird storyline started. So I was like, let me just hop in here.
I feel like I am so differently also, I did a little bit of trolling because while that was going on, I did decide to start rewatching all of the Flowers in the Attic movies and tweeting about my experience. So I felt like that was something that was entertaining to me, but it wasn't something that I had strong opinions on because, like, the Flowers in the Attic, it's the worst thing ever created. But I freaking love it. I think it's hilarious and so melodramatic, and I live for the Flowers in the Attic like series. It's the worst thing ever created, and I love it. So me watching all these people like being so angry about this, I was like, what are these people gonna think when they find out that I guilty pleasure love Flowers in the Attic?
No, it's like I think one of the funniest things that's happening right now is the fact that it's not just in YouTube, but it's just I love when I hear that people are extremely offended over things in entertainment that happened like 40 or 50 years ago. I mean, that whole thing that was uncovered from John Wayne's article about how he gave a lot of racist comments, but I'm like,
no kidding.
But I'm like, that time, it was a different time. It's not right. It's not right.
Surprised?
Yeah, I'm like, it's not right, first and foremost, but the man's been dead and buried for years. Let it go. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, like, listen, and you want to know something? If it wasn't for things like that, we never would be in the situation where we are today. Meaning, I'm not talking about the racial tensions. Look, they're there, they exist, and I think that some of them are true, and some of them are extremely over-exaggerated for the sake of being over-exaggerated, because some people just don't know what reality is anymore. But it's important to remember the past, not erase it, because it's only going to help us be better. We need to know what people were like back then. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to turn ourselves into the people that we want to be today.
Yeah, like, okay, John Wayne is one of my celebrity crushes. I've seen
there you go.
Stagecoach like 1,000 times. I think he's so handsome. But, like, am I surprised that he was a racist? I've seen Stagecoach. I'm not surprised.
I mean, like, okay, can I give you the most perfect example?
Yeah.
Walt Disney. He hated Jews. But right now, Bob Iger, a Jewish man, has turned Disney into an empire.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is like understanding, like, obviously where it came from. Like, it was never okay to be racist, but that was the mindset back then. And, you know, are you trying to cancel a man who's been dead? Like,
the fact that people want to cancel John Wayne, but people are like in love with Ted Bundy.
Oh my God!
Yeah, what the hell is it with people and their sudden like affection with serial killers? This is I'm surprised. I'm waiting for people to start talking about like having crushes on the son of Sam. That's terrifying to me.
Yeah, it's weird.
I mean,
But,
I'm going to stir the pot right now, and I have no shame in this. I really don't like the fact that people are actually showing sympathy for pedophiles these days. That's scary to me.
Oh my
oh
god.
yeah, 100% agree.
Now.
100%
Like they're literally,
agree.
like they're literally saying. I remembered I once saw a tweet that was the most outlandish thing, and I felt horrible seeing this with my eyes. It was like there was a petition. I don't know if it was a petition or someone made a text or a tweet or something, but someone basically wanted to incorporate pedophiles as a member of the LGBTQ community.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's a
are
thing.
you insane?
That's a thing, and it's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Like, do they not realize the difference between like healthy adult consensual right to love whoever you want and children? Like, it's weird. People need to step
insane.
outside, interact with real people, and like,
Yeah.
Yes, stop reading. That's why I keep saying, stop reading contemporary fiction books. Open up your front door and go outside. Sunshine is the best medicine. Interact with actual people.
yeah,
Don't get me wrong. Escapism is wonderful, but you have to incorporate yourself in reality too. Taylor,
Yeah.
please continue.
Oh, no, did you hear about the thing on Twitter where people were trying to cancel Otto Frank? Anne Frank's
No.
dad?
What?
That I did not hear.
Okay,
Let
so this
Anne
is
Frank's dad live. Well,
like
dead,
Anne Frank's unabridged diary, she mentions being attracted to other women, and so you can infer from the text that she was like bisexual or pansexual. And her father, when publishing her diary in 1947, decided to omit that aspect as well as certain things about her fights with her mother and certain puberty related things. He just decided to omit that, and people for some reason started to try and cancel him for, I guess, censoring that part about her sexuality.
He was just trying to. It's 1947. A lot of things are not acceptable. Would Anne Frank be considered such like an intensely important cultural figure if that had been put out in the world at the time? Now, with editions being published with all of that content, I think people are becoming interested in reading the Anne Frank diaries again, and they're sort of learning about this and becoming like, people are falling in love with Anne Frank as a person again because of this. But I don't think if that content had been put in there in 1947, that would have been really important to some people, but I don't think that important story would have been allowed to be told if that content had been kept in. And I think this story has done so much for bringing awareness, and it's such an important testament to a horrible, horrible time in the world's history. So the fact that people are trying to cancel a man who was just protecting his daughter's memory in a time where these things about her would not have been accepted is like, if anything, he was just being a really good dad and like making sure her story was told in a way that would be acceptable.
Yeah, I mean, like it's the times and all of that. It was the sign of the times, it's the different times. So the fact that this whole new side of Anne Frank is being revealed, I don't think anybody should be upset about the fact that her father tried to just keep it hidden for the 1940s and 50s. That was the point in time when gay men were basically being thrown into cop cars and taken to jail for their feelings towards other men. It was like it was just a different time. I mean, like, I laugh so hard right now because I love the fact that there is this and I don't think it's even real. I think they're just doing this just to get some people crazy. Like, I love the fact that there is this movement to make a straight pride parade.
My God.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
It's dumb, but to a certain degree, listen, I have friends now who are members of this community, and I love the fact that when I talk to them about how embarrassed they are because of the leftist loonies that have infiltrated it, because basically there are people in this group, they're not the majority of the group, but they basically say, if you like straight people, you're not gay enough. And by liking straight people, meaning being friends with straight people. I think that that's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. Which for me is like that's like can go both ways also. Like, that's just so dumb. Like,
it's juvenile.
it's like idiotic.
Yeah. And like, you know me, Steve, like I'm
Of
very
course.
left leaning, but like I think part of it is just growing up because I used to be very like militant and so on. And now like I'm very left leaning. I will share my views. I will go out and show that with my ballot. You know, my vote will always, for the most part, be left. But like some people just need to take a nap, step away from the computer. Sometimes even like just think, is this worth it?
Yeah.
Is this worth my time?
You know, one of these days, Taylor, I do want to have a conversation with you because I gotta know your attitude about the Democratic Party and what they're doing right now with all those candidates. Just do me a favor.
There's
When
so
you do
many.
I'm just gonna beg you, when you go to the polls, do not vote for my mayor. Please don't. He's an asshole.
Yeah.
It's
just
Please don't vote for de Blasio. Please don't. He's an asshole.
Tell you now, I have no idea who I'm voting for because there are too many people.
Well,
there's so many choices.
Yeah, in the words of the great Bill Maher, this is not a Democratic presidential election poll. This is an Avengers movie.
They're like Democrats assemble.
Although I still think one of the greatest things in the world is the fact that The Simpsons predicted this. The Simpsons predicts everything these days.
I think they have a time machine secretly, the writers of The Simpsons.
Matt Groening probably does. I wouldn't really be surprised if he did. But anyway, guys, we're heading into the last 10 minutes, and that means we're going to throw – actually, before we get into that, I never actually said my piece. I truthfully try to avoid the drama, but like the Kardashians, it always finds me. Some way, somehow, they find me. But I like to get the perspective from a sane member who is – someone like you, Taylor, who like loves the gossip but doesn't want to get involved in the drama. Melissa, you too, because that's one of the few things that I love. I will always get a message from somebody saying, "Did you hear what happened?" And I was like, "Oh no, what now?" And to a certain degree, it's a great breath of fresh air to know that there are people out there that are much more pathetic than you. That's just all I'm going to say about that. But when I said that earlier statement, which is probably going to get me blasted on YouTube, there are some times, not always, but I agree with you, Taylor, you can't take anything with a grain of salt. You really need to know where that other person is coming from. But I will also say that if you do know what that type of person is, especially when you see their channel, sometimes you just wonder. You just wonder. I know for a solid fact that when someone like you both post something on there, you obviously need to talk to somebody. When I actually posted my a tweet on last Monday, where I wrote, "Fell down the stairs, it must be a Monday," I wasn't looking for pity. I just wanted to say something funny. Did I fall down the stairs? Yes, I did. I actually fell down the stairs earlier this morning. I need carpet runners. Not a good thing for my house, but I'm not asking for pity. Or like when I talked about the fact that I actually got my ear drained the other day. I wasn't asking for anybody to feel sorry for me. I just wrote, I got my ear drained. It's not a pleasant experience. I still think the funny thing was it created a chain where people were like saying, someone actually said to me, "Have you ever gave birth?" I was like, I never said the experience hurt. I said it was uncomfortable. You have to read what I wrote. That's another thing. People also need to, in the words of Porky from the Little Rascals, we need to learn to read.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, let's go into the final question before we officially close out the show, and we can talk more when the cameras go off. Entirely up to you guys unless you're busy. But the last question is, has YouTube made you a better person overall? Have you been told so by the people who support you? How do you feel that it helped you with life, and do you think that it's going to help you with the next step in life?
I would say, for me personally, I would say yes, it has made me a better person. I think I was very much so inside of a very interesting and unique bubble when I initially started my channel. I was in a very sort of structured and naive way of thinking. And that just comes from like my upbringing and the sort of society that I was in. But I do think like I definitely have learned a lot. I've learned to think before I speak a lot from being on this platform. I also think in a weird way it's really helped me with like my public speaking skills and like my ability to form eloquent sentences, because I like editing, but I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. So the fact that when I started my channel, for I'd say the first 3 years of my channel, I did not edit at all.
Wow, I didn't
So I
realize
had to learn how to speak. If you watch those old videos, I don't edit. And like you can see at the beginning, I'm tripping over my words, but by the end of it, I got to a point where I could make like a 6-minute video and I'd give all my information. I don't script my videos. I don't pre-play my videos. I sit down and I just speak to the camera. And I literally, most of my editing is just editing out pauses where I'm thinking.
Yes.
I don't edit like mistakes when I speak or anything like that. And I think a lot of that, like, in my real life, I don't trip over my words as much. I think I try to use more extensive vocabulary when I speak in my everyday life now, because you don't want to say, I'm excited for this book 8 times in a row. You want to sort of find new creative ways to express the same emotion, but in a way that doesn't get repetitive. And I think that is like a weirdly specific skill that has really translated into my everyday life. And like I get compliments a lot on my vocabulary and on my ability to speak like concisely and quickly about a topic. I've gotten that from professors. I get that at my place of employment because I speak on the phone all day to people. Customers at work will say that to me. So I think that's definitely something that I've learned a lot from YouTube to do.
Well said.
Yeah.
Absolutely well said.
Thank you.
For me, I would say it gave me a lot of job skills that I didn't have going into it. I've said before that I got my job because they were impressed with how I marketed myself on YouTube and Twitter, and that was all self-taught. You know, I didn't go to school for marketing. I was an English major, and starting the YouTube channel, you know, I had to get a Twitter, and on Twitter I had to have like not a persona per se, but you know, I had to, you know, post certain things related to my content. I had to, you know, have a personality online, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Instagram. And so it taught me, you know, okay, so you probably shouldn't talk about politics too much. You probably shouldn't engage in drama because that's how you lose followers, or at least add a lot more stress to your life. You know, make sure you're careful about what you say if you don't want to stir the pot. And also, you know, tweet regularly, post regularly, interact with people, you know, all of that stuff, which, you know, I think it does come naturally to a point. I had to sort of learn, you know, teach myself, and I was able to apply that to the job I have now, which is social media management and editing marketing videos. So.
Right. That's great. Yeah, I feel for myself, it's done a great deal of things. I think what it did do was it also helped me enhance my own skills for the current job that I have right now. I think what it also really did was it really helped me with my time management skills, because nowadays when I tell people that I'm literally scheduling what I'm going to eat all week, I basically live and die by a calendar now. It's crazy. I don't consider it OCD. I just feel that when you have everything written down, it's just so much easier to make sure that everything that you do or that you want to do is done, because the last thing that I ever want to find out is that I missed a bill. You know, that's the last thing that I want. But I also feel that what it has done, it has also instilled my confidence to just be myself, because for a while I was, for so many years of my childhood, I was the awkward kid that sat in the corner, and it wasn't that I was being bullied or anything. I mean, thank God I didn't get bullied in high school. That's one of the few things that I don't really say to many people. There had been maybe 1 or 2 kids that bullied me, but ironically, my school had a very strict no bullying policy before no bullying was even a thing, and this was in the 90s. Kids who bullied got expelled.
Wow.
So
in the 90s?
Yeah, in the 90s, because the dean of my school, because I went to a private school for Jewish kids, and his attitude was a Jew does not hit another Jew, or a Jew does not demean another Jew. So when one kid bullied another, that kid either got severely suspended or expelled. So there was very little bullying in this school, very little.
That's really cool, though.
So yeah, but I was still, I still had a small group of friends, but I still kind of felt that I was out of place. And now where I look at where I am, I love the fact that it's incredible to know that I actually have friends, and it's not just people that are my age. I have friends that are older than me, friends that are younger than me. One of my very good friends here on YouTube right now, I call her my little sister from another mister, is Lauren from Random Reader. She may not be making many videos now, but she is one of the kindest and sweetest people that I have ever met. And the fact that she actually asks me advice and the fact that she trusts me, I'm glad to know that I've made a difference in someone's life that I never would have ever thought I'd met in a million years. The fact that she actually flagged me down the first time that I went to BookCon, she was the first person that found me. The fact that I actually had a conversation with her and her mother and actually told them where they should go if they're going to be a week in the city. Where do you go? Here's where you go. Check this place out. Like, I just felt like I was doing good things. So I feel that it made me a better person. I also feel that it's made me a better worker. I also feel that it has made me a better husband, because one of the few things that made me so happy was I was only YouTubing for a year and a half. I had no issue telling my girlfriend, now my wife, that I made a YouTube channel, and she thought that it was adorable, and she was completely okay with it as long as she didn't have to show up in the videos. I understand why, but she has no issue with them. I always make sure that I am able to do these kinds of things on days where I know that she has important things to do. She is grading papers all day right now, so she doesn't care what I do right now. But she knows that it's important to me, and it's just made me all around a better person. And ladies and gentlemen, we're done. We are officially at 3 o'clock. So as much as I would love for this to continue, I really feel that YouTube is going to help us all. I hope that we learn from whatever mistakes the community has brought, and we just all become better and civil people. So with that, everybody, just remember this video will be taken down, will be put up on my channel at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, Monday, June 10th. Taylor, Melissa, thank you both so much for joining Sunday Sit Downs today. I really hope that we can all work in the future, whether it's the three of us together or just separate. And I'm hoping that you're all excited for another great topic next month on Sunday Sit Downs, but more importantly, another great YouTuber to discuss it with. Have a great day, everybody.